Firewatch, a video game that went viral back in 2016 for its controversial ending, as it made a lot of gamers unhappy with the way the game kept teasing the reveal of Delilah, the mysterious woman that we never see, yet is always present throughout the game, only to be left disappointed in the end. To tell you the truth, I never had any intention of ever playing this game at all until I did a review of Despelote, an indie game with an emphasis on storytelling and unique art direction. And when I bought Despelote, it included Firewatch, so I figured I might as well give it a go, Spent all this money, might as well play it. So having now played almost a decade later, which sounds crazy to say, really, begs the questions: did it live up to its hype all those years ago? And was the ending really that controversial?
No!
Starting with the visuals, which I think besides the story, this is what many people imagine when they hear someone mention Firewatch in their face. The warm, cozy, cartoonish look that really sticks out as being memorable for good reasons. And can I just talk about the lighting in this game for a second? Experiencing in the sundown for the first time took my breath away. If I could live in the world of Firewatch, well, I wouldn't actually do it. Forever, I mean. But for a couple of days, experience the sundown? Absolutely. It just shows how a game with a great art direction can still hold up 9 years later. Since a lot of games nowadays can have a great story, but will age badly due to bad art direction. Take for example Final Fantasy VII on the original PlayStation 1. Great for its time, but modern gamers will be put off by its polygon models, pre-rendered cutscenes, and textures due to the evolution of hardware. But whereas Chrono Trigger, one of the best JRPGs ever to be made, was released 2 years prior, still looks and feels good to play even to this day. It's amazing how game development works, isn't it? Anyhow, getting back on track. Besides the lighting system that makes the game so much better, what makes the level design so good is the landmarks, as the game relies on a compass and a map to navigate the wilderness of Wyoming. It doesn't have any checkpoints or icons that you can place on the map. No NPCs and rarely any signs to guide you to your destination. Hence why it's important for a game of this scale to have iconic landmarks to help the player orient themselves. The point is that I'm trying to make is that Firewatch has many iconic landmarks in its sandbox arena, so no matter where you are, you always have a general idea of where you are and where you need to go next. As for what I didn't like, which I can tell you right now isn't much, occasionally you will encounter a random animal or the wind moves the trees to make the world feel alive around you, but most of the time the world feels static, almost lifeless. And even though it's intentional for story purposes, I would have wanted something to make the world just a tad bit more alive. Moving on to the story, the main focus that made Firewatch so famous. The game starts in the middle of the story rather than the typical beginning, middle, and end. You play as Henry, a husband to a wife diagnosed with dementia. Taking its toll, Henry takes on a job as a firewatcher in the wilderness of Wyoming to clear his mind. We start the game with Henry heading to his new workplace. As soon as we step into the car, we're immediately thrown with a recap of the events leading up to this very moment, from their first encounter to the first signs of dementia and how it affects everyone involved. I certainly didn't expect it and was taken back by how the story just hits you with emotion right off the bat. Now, this is something I feel has been omitted, which will explain why I don't think the ending is that controversial as everyone makes out to be. The game gives you choices to select throughout the game, shaping your own version of Henry, as you can make him to be closed off, open, or something in between. While the overall story plot doesn't change, some of the choices you make in the intro will be brought up again as you converse with Delilah, your new boss who you never see, only hearing her voice through the walkie-talkie throughout the whole game.
Got him from the pound.
That's great. Hey, can you hold on a sec?
Sure. Just gonna keep hiking and hoping it warms up.
Heyo. I don't think so. Why, have you?
Now, we're coming to an end as the days turns into weeks, into months. We watch as Henry and Delilah grow their relationship from just co-workers to a chaotic friendship with hints for a potential for romance. And one day, as the forest fire gets out of control, Henry rushes to Delilah's watchtower so they can escape together. Everything has led up to this moment. We have watched, listened, just waiting for this moment to happen. And now we get a happy ending, finally getting to meet the woman who you flirted with for the last 3 months. Nope. As Henry arrives, we found out that she has already left, leaving a very bitter taste in Blair's mouth, and probably broke Henry's already broken heart. What other people haven't told you is that leading up to this disappointment, because the game gives you options, you have the option to either convince Delilah to stay and wait for you, or encourage her to leave early. I did the latter, hence why I didn't feel that anger, disappointment. Rather, I just enjoyed the ending for what it was. For the first time in a while, I finally played a game where the player doesn't get a happy ending. The reason is because I felt developers create a realistic scenario how grief affects someone. You would think by finding someone else, the hole left in your heart will magically heal. Absolutely not. The painful feelings will always be there, and trying to escape by finding someone else will not solve the problem. An issue I have with a lot of video games nowadays is that they try to paint a picture-perfect ending. You dream as you escape the painful reality, which is sometimes good, but if you're not ready to suffer, then you have this delusional idea that everything will automatically be okay. Firewatch gives you the knock to put you down back to reality, which I think everyone, including myself, needs to have every once in a while. Everything we do will not always work out. When we fail, it will be painful, but it's in those moments we grow, become better. The other thing that Firewatch players doesn't tell you is that the game turns into what I like to describe as a light horror thriller. As Henry begins his job, mysterious things begin to happen, from getting his watchtower wrecked on the first day, sheets stolen, to someone listening into conversations with Delilah, and discovering a mysterious cut-off area that nobody seems to know. It gets creepy as we begin to wonder if it's all an illusion, or is someone actually trying to murder you. It's a story of suspense and surprise that made me love the story so much more. The only bad thing, which isn't really a bad thing, really, it's just that I wish the game was a tad bit longer. With a completion time of 3 to 5 hours, the game feels extremely short, and there are plot points that I wish the game expanded upon. Take for example Henry and Julia. Even though the game does a great job of explaining their history and relationship through choices and a simple text, I wish we got flashback scenes throughout the game.
Hey, you big dumb idiot.
Babe, it's late.
I know it is. You sound tired.
I am.
Moving on to the gameplay, as you've seen by now, it's a first-person perspective, and seeing as the game is so short, the gameplay stays generally the same from start to finish. Sure, occasionally you will unlock new mechanics like a flashlight, camera, ropes, an axe, but it's not like you're going to, how to put it, add to experience. You have to play some moments, but outside of that really, you're never going to use them again. Otherwise, it's simply walk. Enjoy the nature of Wyoming, check the map to orient yourself, talk with Delilah, try not to get paranoid, and repeat. The gameplay is of course not flawless by any means, as I had a run-in with some of the bugs. They were not game breaking, so no game crashes or soft locking, but just annoying. Grabbing an item sometimes could be hit or miss, as I could never figure out the distance before the game allowed you to grab the item, as sometimes I had to look directly at it and be very close, sometimes I had just to be in the general vicinity. It was weird and more complicated than it had to be. Obviously it was frustrating at times, but get over it quickly. Moving on to the lock codes, or rather the lock code should I say, was too simplistic. I wish every lock had a different lock combination and there was some kind of minigame to figure out the codes. Add variety, you know? With all that out of the way, for a game that went viral, I was and still am surprised by how it has become a hidden gem. For me, it still feels like a game that could have been released a couple of years ago. So seeing Firewatch almost being a decade-year-old game at this point is surreal to believe, too surreal. But after doing some digging into the company's history, it all made sense. As it turns out, Campus Santo, the developers behind Firewatch, got acquired by Valve only 2 years after the release of Firewatch, and hasn't released any games since. They were working on a game called The Valley of the Gods, but that has been put on hold, meaning Firewatch is the only game they released, and with no updates on the company's future, it makes sense that the hype faded away with time. As for Firewatch itself, I have said everything that I need to say, so do I recommend it? Absolutely. Even with its short runtime, the game is well worth it at full price, and is a game that will leave a lasting impact, and we should have more games like this. With how few AAA games are releasing nowadays, I've been thinking of playing shorter games like this in between so I can give you guys more content. Let me know if that sounds like a good idea in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.